last couple of weeks waiting for assay results to come in. Obviously, the share price went for a run with a fair few speculators coming in. And I've seen it a few times now where, you say that assays are due, and then the share price goes for a run. And obviously, we went into a trading halt late last week, and we've come out to a trading halt, but a lot of those, I guess what you call speculators, have come out of the market and obviously moved on to the next ASX Explorer. So hopefully that's cleaned things out. But I guess really today I want to focus on what I say are great results. They've complemented everything that we delivered in December, and we're continuing moving ahead with the Island Gold project. So that's what I really want to talk about today. Just to give you an idea, so it's the Island Gold project. It's the one in the middle. Just that picture on the left-hand side. One thing to note, we've actually just we've applied for another 2 tenements, and that will increase our land holding by 100%. So they're in application. So yeah, something to watch in the next couple of months. Now, what we are going to focus on the right-hand side is where we've been drilling. So just to give an indication, those yellow dashed lines, they're just the areas that we targeted, less than 5% of the Island Gold project. Obviously, these are areas where there has been historical shallow workings. We've drilled above them, we've drilled below them, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But as I say, when you look at that picture, it's only a small area. We have tackled one of the main structures, northeast structures, that does run through the Island Gold project, and obviously we've had some pretty good results. So the first area I want to talk about is Vadrans. That's where a lot of the hits have been. So back in December, we hit a very good intersection, which we released hole 9. We went through one area, it was 27 meters at 3 grams. We continued the hole, and then we hit 28 meters at 6 grams. And obviously that gave a share price a bit of a run from 2 cents up to, went over 5 cents. So what we were trying to do with the recent round of drilling was go up dip. So hopefully you can see my cursor. And we dropped a hole from surface straight into the target zone. And once again, we hit 11 meters at 6.7. Now, in anyone's books, that's a pretty good hit. And I guess sometimes people compare you to what you've delivered previously. And obviously the previous hit in December was absolutely huge. But even so, hitting 11 meters up dip at 6.7 is pretty good as well. And then what we decided to do was then go down dip and see what we could target deeper. And that's where we hit 20 meters at 1.5. Now, one thing to bear in mind, because there is a fair bit of coarse gold within these structures, which are dipping to the north, what you find is you can have holes quite close together. One could be running 1 gram, and right next door can be running an ounce. So that just shows you've got a nuggety ore body. So when I look at that 20 meters at 1.5, that's a very good intersection. We could drill another one just to the north, deeper, and once again we could be back in the 6 grams. So it just shows you this stepping effect of these target zones as we go deeper. So as I say, we've hit 2 zones. We've gone up dip and down dip, and really that's the Vadrans, and that was what we were trying to target, and we've been successful in doing that. But just to show you on this intersection here, we are going to start looking the next round of drilling for deeper targets that run parallel to the ones above. And one thing that does tie into this picture, and I'll talk about next, is the discovery. So the discovery is directly south, which is the left of the page over here, about 250 meters, and we intersected a discovery at 168 meters deep. Now, potentially what's happened here is we've got a repeat of Vadrans 250 meters to the south. But if I was to overlay that result on Vadrans, it would be in this area down here, much deeper in the sequence. So it does tell me, let's go deeper at Vadrans. Let's target along these zones and start proving up the strike and depth extents. Now, just to the north of Vadrans, we did hit anomalous gold in 3 holes. Now, one thing we need to go back to here is that behind the main high-grade Vajran systems to the west is another reef. You can see it just behind here, which is this slightly yellow reef here. That is what we may have hit just to the north. So I dare say we're going to go back. The actual geos are up there now. They're putting in the pegs for the next round of drilling. Have we hit the most westerly reef behind Vadrans? Well, time will tell when we go back and start mapping the surface. So maybe we need to drill further to the east, but I guess all part of exploring this area. Now, the discovery hole, which is 250 meters to the south of Vadrans, where we've had significant success, is this is circled yellow here. So we're on the same banded iron formation as Vadrans, but we're just 250 meters to the south. And as you can see, there's been no drilling in this area. Now, the reason for that is there's a bit of cover over that area. So when the old timers came along, if there was any cover alluvials, they were only really targeting stuff at surface. So bottom right-hand side, you can see where it's located. It's located on the southern side of this northeast shear. But that was, I guess, a hypothetical hole. So we said, look, we're looking for where these structures cross-cut the banded iron formations. We want to go deeper. So we dropped this hole. There's no holes around this. So this is your classic greenfields exploration hole. And we managed to hit 22 meters at 2.3. And does it make a discovery? Well, we've got to hit it a few times, and then, yeah, we can call that a discovery, but that's certainly a new hole in a new area that will certainly follow up. And you can see the orientation of these structures. To go all the way to the north, we've got New Orient, which is open, down dip, and actually a long strike as well. Vadrans North, we still need to do a little bit of work there, but on the eastern side, there is additional hits. Obviously, Vadrans Hill, we need to go to depth on that one, and then discovery. So with this one, because we are intersecting the gold at 168 meters, I'm actually going to target this thing up dip and see if we can snag it to start forming a replica of Vadrans over the discovery hole. But as I say, 22 meters at 2.3 on a new area is pretty good. Now, Baxter and Golconda. So when you look at Baxter Golconda, at the top of Baxter Golconda, where the reef comes to surface and there's been historical workings, there's actually been some very tight folding within that area, which almost triples the thickness of the banded iron formations in that area. But what it has meant, as you've got all of these folds coming into that area, this is where the gold's dropping out when you get tight folding. So what we did, we came all the way to the top of Baxter, and then we intersected 20 meters at 1 gram. So that was pretty good. We actually intersected a second area, a little bit deeper, but it's almost like a separate reef. We got 14 meters at 0.3. So that's just telling us, right, that area is anomalous. We can go back in there. Have we hit the side of it? Is there more to give in that area? But yeah, just another target. And then also we started to try and see if this thing actually extends to the surface. So you can see hole 10, we got 10 meters at 3 grams a ton. So it is showing that potentially the area of golden deposition is potentially making its way to surface up here. And then also we can start targeting deeper depths as well, because in the December holes, we hit 8 meters at 1.5. So these things continue going. And it's just another analogy of Vadrans. You're getting these almost stacking of high-grade zones within the banded iron formations, dipping to the north, all very similar. So yeah, we'll just chase these to depth. Now, next step, as I say, we're going to target depth extensions to Vadrans. We'll target the new discovery over here. But also really the main area that we need to start looking at, because we're still in that grassroots exploration area, is all of this area to the north. We've got multiple structures running through there. We need to target all of these banded iron formations. You can see the cross-cutting structures coming through. And that's where the guys are banging in pegs right now to start lining up where the rig's going to go, start looking at where we're going to put the sumps, and obviously the drill pads. So that area there is the northern part or north of Vadrans, and we'll target that in this next 5,000 meters. And then after that, we can start looking at the southern half of the project, and that will potentially be the next round of drilling. And just to recap, really, why the Island Gold Project? Well, on the left-hand side, this is the Island Gold Project. You know, just to the south of us, Break a Day managed to prove up 1 million ounces. And you know, that didn't happen overnight. There's probably one thing. One of the comments was, you know, you don't just drop a couple of holes and prove up 1 million ounces. These take time. You know, there's a very proven methodical process that you go through as you drill these targets out to prove up 1 million ounces. And then I guess the ultimate end game, as you see on the right hand side, is what Break a Day looks like. This system here is only 100 meters wide by nearly 400 meters long, and obviously you've got the linear as well. So you know, similar structures. You know, they were hosting in high mag basalts. We have high mag basalts, but the main host is the banded iron formations. And then just to the north of us, we got Comet. Same again. They're very similar to us. You know, they have banded iron formations, they have sediments, same orientation, same structures. But obviously, they've developed their pits. You can see they're long, elongated pits, and this is exactly what we're starting to see form at the Island Gold Project. That you would mine along the banded iron formations. You'll go to depth, you take the high grade gold out. But one thing that they did at Comet is they say, when I spoke to the geos there, they said, you know, what you're looking for, yeah, you can chase these open pits, but really build your ounces up. You need to find which one is going to go to depth. They're almost, they look like ladders. On the ladders, each step is high grade, and these things go to depth and they really build up your resource base. So theirs was up at Comet, and that's why they had their underground there. You know, we've got the equivalent to that is the New Orient gold mine to the north, and then obviously to the south they've got Eclipse, we've got Vadrans. You know, we've got Ironclad, they've got Venia, so we're seeing very similar, a lot of similarities with Comet. And obviously, once again, these take time to prove up, but also you need to be drilling to find these undergrounds, but also open pit resources. So that is, I guess, really what we're going to be targeting. And just to finish off, we will be heading out to Cutting Wire. What we're looking to do here is the next step. So you can see next step, ultrafine soil sampling. That's going to be in this area here. So there is another northeast structure. When you come off our tenements, you go into West Gold, and that's the West Gold mine just there. So we dare say, because there has been some shallow sediments over the top, we need to do soil sampling. What we'll do there is see if we can get any anomalous gold. And then from there, we'll talk about targeting and doing some air core drilling, if not RC drilling. But we know the system's active. We've already mapped the greenstone belt, so we know we're in the right area. We then mapped the cross-cutting quartz veins, and we've located visible gold. So we know there's gold in the system. It's now forming up how much. But obviously, having a gold mine right next door certainly helps build that picture. So, Evie, I know I've sort of summarised the announcement just to make it more clear. What if I can open up to you?
Thanks, Luke. I think I was just reading through the questions on registration. I think you've covered most of them. I think there's one on there. Actually, there's quite a few on there in terms of what our financing requirements are. Are you able to give us a bit of an overview of what our plans are in that respect?
Yeah, okay. So you just said the announcement that came out yesterday with a cleansing notice. So another $700,000 has come into the bank, and that is the conversion of 3 cent options that are out there. So which is great, I guess, for you know, not having to rattle the tin and go and sort of raise capital. So this is money that we'll use. So that pretty much that's paid for the next round of drilling. but then we still have the money in the bank. Um, so there's money coming in, there's money going out. So you have to sort of wait, what's the net of that? So there's around 2 million sitting in the bank. If you net all of the invoices that are going out, running costs, and obviously, the geo team are up there right now, so obviously bills will start coming in again, but they're not huge. It's only when the drill rig starts spinning. We are talking to Top Drill right now of getting. We still need to lay the pads down and obviously the sumps, which takes a bit of time. But yeah, Top Drill will be up there pretty soon, so we're looking to be drilling in April. It's just getting that rig on site, but obviously us being prepared, making sure that the holes are in the right place in the sump. So yeah, we're not looking to raise any money in the near term by any means. So as I previously said, every time we do a drill program of about 5,000 meters, it roughly cost about $500,000. So that 700,000 that's just come in, we won't be touching into any of our reserves that's in the bank. That we can use that money to go to the drilling.
Yeah, that's great. So, and just in terms of options on issue and conversion, do we still have is there still a balance that potentially could still convert? Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So I just checked that. So there's around 60 million options still out there that could be converted. We've actually had a very steady stream of people converting. It's almost like they realize they've got options and then we get the letter. So what we're trying to do, yeah, because every time we convert an option into a share, it actually costs the business money, and it's not cheap. So what we try and do is package when we get enough to package them up, and then we convert in one bulk. I know there is, and we speak to the option holders about that because there is a requirement to do it within 5 days. But when they realise it's sometimes for us to convert actually doesn't make us any money. It takes money away from the business. They realise, okay, well, let's package these up.
Mm, yeah, sounds great. So there's a question that's come through during today's session in terms of Adrian's North. What are the plans? As it doesn't seem to be much in that area.
Yeah, so I'll just go back to that picture of Hadrian's North. Yeah, so what we hit a quartz reef that pretty much runs through this area here. Uh, and what we're suspecting, have we hit a westerly quartz reef which correlates with the one here? So the guys will go out there, they will do some additional mapping, and is the actual main reef we're searching further to the east. What we're doing now, we're modeling up this area to see if it correlates with the reef that has already been intersected behind Hadrian's Hill, which actually runs similar grades over here as well, but it's actually a separate parallel lode. You can sort of actually you look at the legends down here, parallel lode. So you've got one off to the west. So have we hit that? And we're still good to go. And so that's what they have to work out at North Hadrian's. But yeah, when we looked at this, we did hit quartz. So has it been depleted in some way just to the north? Is this the main zone? This area is still open. We're certainly, we're getting anomalous goals. So have we skimmed the top of it? And when you look at the plunge of these targets, should I be targeting deeper, like down here?
Yeah.
That may be the case.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we've only done shallow drilling at the top.
Yeah. And just on that, I mean, I'm a little bit naive in terms of drilling. I mean, can you run some EM or anything like that over there?
Yeah, so we reached out to two companies, Resource Potential and Southern Geoscience. They said the issue you have, so downhole EM, we don't have enough sulfides within the holes, because when we looked at the chips, where everyone was surprised about how little sulfides are in there. And sometimes you need that metallic connectivity to run EM surveys. Then we talked about, could we do some tighter surveying on the top? And they're saying with the banded iron formation, the result you get is so blurred. and also there's additional bands in between what's exposed at surface.
Mhm.
So the surveying we've seen where we try to go tighter space surveying, just that yeah, the iron just obliterates everything that we're trying to see. So yeah, it's that. Yeah, and I talked to quite a few geoscientists at the RIU conference exactly about this, and they said, yeah, banded iron formations aren't probably the best to be doing that survey work on.
Yeah, like, it could be anything, hey?
Yeah.
So there's another one that's come through. It could be too early to comment on, but how are you planning on monetizing our assets in the short term, noting the gold price and wow. Can we talk about the gold price?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, one thing about grade. So, so when we started to model these things, your cutoff grade is almost down at 0.3, and that's obviously the gold price certainly helps there. So when you're looking at some of these open pit mines at $5,000 an ounce, you could do open pit mining at 0.5 grams per ton and still make money. And then I saw an article about some of these underground mines. Like when I've always thought about a rule of thumb for an underground mine, it had to be 5 grams a ton. And then I'm looking at head grades of West Australian underground mines, and their head grade is sitting around the 2 grams a ton, and they're still making money. So then I'm looking at this and I go, okay, so if I was to add value to this project, right, the quickest and easiest thing I can do is obviously drill and prove up a resource. Uh, I will start with open pitable resources at surface. And just like what they did at Comet, if I do get a sniff that I've got something decent that's potentially going to depth, then I will throw some resources at that. But initially, my quick, easy ounces are going to come from the surface. We're hitting high grade at surface. 11 meters at 6.7 at surface. That's, I mean, I'm shocked like everyone about the share price. Like, I look at these results and I'm like, these are great. So there was other things at play there
Yeah.
on the share price. But what we've delivered here, just at Vadrans, we've hit it up dip, we've hit it down dip. We've got all these new target zones at depth. North Vadrans, yeah, let's work out if we've hit the target, it's depleted, or do we have to go deeper? The new discovery, there's so many options here, and we haven't even targeted everything to the north yet, or done any work around New Orient Gold Mine. So there's a fair bit of work to do. But as I say, let's in terms of monetizing, yeah, let's get the resource. So you don't want to go too early on this one. You need to show to your peers, or not peers, people around you. Everyone knows. If I go back to this map, everyone knows that we're surrounded by Ramelius. I've just been informed that Ramelius, they're exploring the area. There's a rig just to the south of us. Are they targeting, southerly extensions of what we've got potentially? We have all this new ground to the east. We're still hitting Cutting Borough. And then you got West Gold to the north of us, where they've got the mills. So there's quite a few options out there. But I think the best thing for us to increase share price is obviously drilling, is obviously proving up resources, hitting all these targets, and really driving this to show the full potential of the Island Gold Project.
Yeah. Are there any outstanding essays?
No, everything's back.
Yeah, great. And in terms of research work on Orient, is that our next target area, New Orient?
No, we what I'd like to do. So we've done a resource over that, like to try and map out the orientation of the gold shoots, just like what we did at Vadrans. What that's showing us is that the gold shoots are heading south into this area in here. The next thing we need to do is look at a lake rig. So I'm actually catching up with Raglan. Raglan are a drilling company that have wide spaced tracks that can go onto these areas, and then we can look at extending. But the next 5,000 meters is going to be on the Island Gold Project. So you can see my cursor to the northern area. extensions to Vadrons, the Discovery, and obviously extensions just in and around Baxter. But yeah, Vadrons and the Discovery here, and then the northern area. So really, because the new Orient Gold project is almost a project within itself at the moment, we are looking at extending that resource to the south, but also we are talking to Top Drill about getting a diamond rig in there to do some metallurgy work, get some structure out of that, and also some geotechnics. So there are other parcels of work separate to this that will be coming in behind the 5,000 meters that we'll be doing with Top Drill.
Yeah, great. I think you've covered everything today. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really looking forward to the next set of news flow coming out, this exciting project. I'm loving how everyone's so involved and invested. Actually, there's one more that has just come through. Sorry about that. Do you think your initial exploration target of 300,000 ounces is now underdone, given what you've seen in the initial 3 targets and given there are 7 to 10 more?
Yeah, I mean, when I put that exploration up, firstly, I'm not a big fan of exploration targets because they're so rubbery. But I guess people want to know what's the size of the prize. So it was requested that I put one out there. I mean, let's. I mean, when you look at, probably I'll show you a picture. The big question is, you know, Break a Day or Musgrave at the time, you know, they took 12 years to prove up 1 million ounces in this area to the south of us. But the one thing you do have to know, even though they were there for 12 years, it was only when they hit the Break a Day, you hit one of these structures and then you're away. You know, you just go hard. You bring multiple rigs in. At the moment, we're so early in our journey. We've only done really, even though we call it phase 1 and 2, that was actually the same program of 5,000 meters, but just split because it was over Christmas. So we're just touching the edges of the Island Gold project. And then you look at, Comet, that took time to prove up as well until they hit the underground, which is the equivalent of the Break a Day. And they hit it to the north, and it's almost Break a Day was to the south. So you can see we're just starting our journey. I need to go and explore this area. I don't think just changing an exploration target is going to change anything on the ground. I'm still going to go hard with the team and turn over every rock on the Island Gold project. But I guess you sort of look at what's to the north of you, 1 million ounces. I look to the south, and there's 1 million ounces. I got the same structures. Well, yeah, I guess you have to make your own mind up on that one.
That's exactly right. All right, I think that's a wrap. Thanks for your time. And if anyone else has any further questions, just shoot them through to Luke and he'll be happy to come back to you. Thanks, everyone.
And thanks to all the shareholders that stuck with us and obviously on this call, and they're keen to see this develop like myself. I think there's great potential here. We've hit some good gold. Obviously, there's been a bit of market turmoil over the last couple of days. Hopefully, that's going to filter out and get out of the system so we can just move ahead with Caprice.
Yep. Thanks so much, Luke. See ya.
Thank you.